Good morning. Welcome to day one of Doodling for Beginners, sponsored by Driving Heart Studio. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really nervous. It's my first live workshop ever. And sometimes I'm nervous about going live because of my son or my cats or whatever. So bear with me if you have to see me roll with any curves that happen in my home environment. So I've got my paper ready. Hopefully if you're joining in, you've got paper and pencil. I have a sharpener. This is a regular pencil. You could also use mechanical pencil. There's not a lot of rules with this, just whatever is, the basic tool. And I have an eraser because I'm not the kind that says you can't erase things. I would just suggest that if you find yourself erasing a whole lot, then you're kind of losing the idea of just flow and creativity. So use your eraser sparingly, but I want you to have that freedom to erase if you want. In here, I have some prompts that I created of simple doodling kind of concepts that can be created in many different ways. So what you'll notice is I will have Liam draw an idea and I will kind of create it in several different ways, and then you can tune into what ways you want to create it as you start your project. We're going to start in the center and kind of go around, and this will be the same artwork that we use for 3 days. So you'll want to protect it each day. So first of all, come here, Liam. My son's going to come and choose two prompts to begin with. All right, here's Liam. You want to sit down for a second? I can turn it so we can see him. All right, go ahead, buddy. Choose two of those. One, and choose one more. Awesome, thank you. And I will call you back. And at the end, he might doodle a little with me. So we got eyes as our very first doodling and a checkered pattern. Okay. All right, so eyes, right? I'm going to start with 2 oval shapes. This is going to be the center. How cool. This is where you might be like, oh, I want to erase because my eyes don't look perfect, right? But see those eyes? There we go. I'm just going to leave them if they're a little not perfect. All right, now I'm going to make the circles, the iris parts, and the centers. And I would say kind of keep your doodlings, 2 inches at a time so they're not huge taking over the whole page because we have a lot of doodling to do here. So here's my eyes, and you'll notice even one is a little larger than the other, but I'm going to leave that because we're not here for perfection. We're here for fun and creativity. And I'm going to give mine eyelashes. So let's see, off the side. That way. And that way. Mine look really bushy. Okay, there's some eyeballs. All right. And if you create your eyes and you're satisfied, I kind of shaded in the center pupil part. We will move on to a checkered pattern. So I'm thinking of doing a square because that's like the easiest, right? But you could choose any kind of thing. You could do a rectangle, a tic-tac-toe board. So I'm just going to choose a square, but I'm going to lay it sideways. So let's see here. I'm going to make 2 lines across and 3 the other way. Okay, you see my little checker? All right, so now I'm just gonna color it, shade them just simply. You don't have to shade perfectly, just so it's checkered. Maybe I'll make another one. There's one checkered pattern. I'm thinking sometimes you like symmetry, right? If you like symmetry like me, I'm a Libra. I'm gonna make one up top, like the similar way. All right, so 2 lines and 3. The idea is there's really no right or wrong you can do, right? It's just whatever feels good to you and satisfies the prompt. All right. So there's my checkered pattern. Okay, Liam, I'm ready for some more. And choose some more for me. You can be like, make it, and you get up and down, over and over. Okay, you can just stand up and do it. You want to just stand up? Okay, he's gonna sit. All right, so we'll take those 2. Thank you. Okay, you can go back and take a break for a minute. I'll get you later. All right, trees. Let's start with that one. Okay, we're gonna doodle trees. So, when you see the word tree, think of first what comes to your mind. What tree is the most common that comes to your mind, perhaps? Then are there some other trees that come? Kind of visualize it first before you make a decision. And then kind of feel, well, what feels like I want to create? Okay, that's like tapping into your intuition. So I'm going to create a palm tree because I always create other trees, right? So right above my eyes, I'm going to create this palm tree. With the big leaves coming down. And now I want to erase because there's a little piece that went in there. And I would suggest leaving some space in between your doodlings. So there's my palm tree. And I'm probably going to put some of those little checker marks or something on the stem that make it look like a tree. There's one tree. I'm thinking maybe I'll make another tree. I'm gonna make a bear tree because it's gonna be it's gonna be fall and the leaves are gonna fall off. So right below, I'm going to make a tree without any leaves. What would that look like? Branches off of branches. It's kind of coming to me, and color in the trunk. Kind of start thick and they get thinned out. So if you can see me as I'm creating, it would be nice, huh? Maybe I can figure out how to do that a little closer. It's not always easy, but there's my tree that I'm working on. And as you start, you just, let go of any judgment of that it has to be any certain way. And just, what feels right for the next branch? Where do you think it should come? Or if you're working on leaves, if you're making something like a bushy tree, where are you going to put the little accents of your pencil where the light could be hitting? Or the darkness, the shadow, I guess. All right, so I'm pretty satisfied. There's my bear tree. I'll keep it there. I'll just lift things up if you guys need to see better. Okay, so I satisfied that prompt. The next is rocks. All right, rocks. Well, I kind of feel like rocks, if I'm doing like trees, rocks should be near the bottom of the trees. So I'm going to create like a pile of rocks at the bottom of a tree. Maybe I need a ground now because I want to show that they're on the ground. My rocks are all different sizes, and maybe I'll put a little bit of marks in them. But I'm also going to make some that's like a scene, right? I'm going to make some freestanding rocks too. Why not? Like above my checkers or something. Just like a little rock pile. And if you want, you can play around with perspective and depth by rocks in front, rocks behind, maybe a little shadow in between them. What can we do with rocks? Can you stack your rocks? Mine are kind of curved, but could your rocks be jagged? Maybe I'll explore with some jagged rocks. We have a lot of rocks out here in Wisconsin, things we can climb. I'm going to make these just a little bit more unique looking. And my rocks have a little bit of shadows. The rocks I made up there. So there are my rocks. And I'm not sure if I can see any comments, but I will respond to any comments later. I'm going to go ahead and choose the next one since Liam's kind of relaxing here. Okay, interconnected segments. Think about what that might mean for you. Interconnected segments. So I think I'm going to draw like a big amoeba shape first and then break it up into segments. So let's see. I'm going to kind of go around. Let's see if you can see this. Around here. Ooh, this might be a good idea for some symmetry, which I'm kind of going with my work here. On the other side, I'm going to match it. So there's my large pieces. Now I'm going to put all different connecting segments in between. So let's make sure we can see here. All different shapes. This one is curved. It looks like the rocks. Maybe the next one I'm going to make more square images inside. Let's see. So just filling in my segments. Right there and there. Okay, so I made interconnected segments that satisfies that prompt. And they're kind of bland right now, so I'm thinking maybe I'll add little shadings like between them. So what you can do is just kind of pick a corner and it'll make a little bit of perhaps depth. So I'll show you after I just kind of thicker areas in some of them. So some of these prompts remind me of concepts in life, like how life is interconnected and we can see how things work together, sometimes more than others. So as you create and as you doodle, you can also kind of tap into that energy of, wow, I don't always see how interconnected everything is, but I can trust that there's a plan and there's good forces out there looking after me. So just giving a little bit of highlighting areas on mine. So I just made a little bit of depth maybe by adding those little shaded areas. Looks like I need something up here. And keep working on whatever you're working on, even if I move ahead. I want to make sure you have time to do your work till you feel satisfied with it. and be really proud because this is like a unique creation. No one has ever made this before. Whatever you're making and I'm making is completely new, right? And it's a reflection of us and our own creativity. So that's the amazing thing. That's what I love about these kind of crafts or ideas that are free flowing and kind of prompted, impromptu with their prompts. So, Liam, do you want to pick one? You want me to? You can pick the next one, okay? Okay. Flowers. All right. So I'm sure you doodled flowers before. So think in your mind, what is the flower that comes to you as easiest to draw perhaps, or what is one that you want to try? So when I was writing this, I was like, I'm totally gonna draw daisies, and oh my gosh, I get so tired of making daisies. And I was like, well, what if I try to make a lily? So I'm gonna try to make a lily. I've never drawn a lily before, but I thought as soon as I get that prompt, I'm gonna make a lily. So they kind of have like these, I might need to erase leaves that come out more. Let's see. Sure, we can see here. Depending on my angle. And then like little things inside that get the leaves on it. I don't know, does it look like a lily? Where is it? That's my lily. I'm gonna try one more. So doodling is about practice. So if I don't really like, exactly how that one looks, I'll try another one. Maybe I'm looking into it more, the other angle. So it would be opening and a little inside coming out. And then I've got one petal coming down. Okay, so here's my second lily attempt. And I think I'm going to put a sunflower. I got this symmetric thing going on. I'm going to put a sunflower on the opposite side. So sunflower is kind of like a bigger circle with all the little seeds inside. That might take me a while. I'll just make little circles. You can see this. I'm making the little seed circles of a sunflower. And while you're doing this, take some deep breaths, just kind of relax. The idea is just to really ground yourself. You're working with your hands and your eyes. Your creative energy is able to flow. There's no other expectation upon you right now. This is just you expressing you, right? There's nothing that has to be done or has to be perfect. It is complete free kind of energy and experience. And that is something you can conjure anytime you do art and set some time aside. Really making it a self-care practice. I'm almost done with my seeds. Yeah, sometimes you start and you're like, whoa, that's a lot of work. Okay, so there's the seeds of my sunflower. There it is. All right, now I got to make the leaves. So if I remember right, the leaves aren't quite as big. They're maybe, let's see, the petals. And some of my stuff might overlap because now that I see where my sunflower is going, it's going to have to go behind some of the other stuff. So that's totally fine if your thing's spaced out and you realize you have to put something behind another. I'll show you that in a second. And that's kind of your artwork creating itself, right? When you're like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. And then it's something really, really beautiful. Liam, you're going to choose the next one for me. Hey, while you're up, I'll have him choose one while he's up. Here, please. Please. Oh, good. The please worked. Okay, thank you. The next one's going to be stacked parallel lines. Okay. So once I get my sunflower, and feel free after you create something, even if you're watching the replay, to post it here in the comments or on my studio page. Share your creation. I'm really excited to see all the uniqueness that comes through for others. Okay, so there's my sunflower. And he had to kind of go behind the rocks, which is fine because he was so big. I probably need to make a stem. So I'm going to make a kind of a thicker stem come down and just go right there. So I'm satisfied with my flowers. If you're satisfied, then we will move on to stacked parallel lines. Okay. So that basically just means they're in order, but it doesn't necessarily mean the distance between them is all the same. So you can decide, are your parallel lines going to be the same distance, or they're going to have difference? So I think I'm going to do two different ones. My first parallel lines are going to be straight up and down. So I'm going to turn my page because it's much easier than going like this. It's going to be much easier to do horizontal, but they're going to be straight up and down. So we're going to go like this, and I'm going to make like almost a pattern. Okay, so there's my parallel lines that have a little space between them. And I think I'm going to shade in the smaller spaces. And you don't have to shade in perfectly, just kind of enough to tell they're different. So parallel lines, that'll definitely challenge your motor skills, right? To make them parallel without a ruler. So try that. Okay, so I'm going to put something on this side now. It just feels like it needs, I like this symmetry look of mine going on. But I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to make it go behind the flower. So I'm going to make it diagonal behind the flower, and they're all just going to be equal. Hey, it turns out like it's like the ground that the flower is in. You see that? Look at that. All right, I'm going to actually have it get smaller as it goes down. So they're still parallel, but they're kind of different lengths, right? They're still stacked. So you can see how here's an idea. You can make your lines, right? I'm going to do one more example with stacked parallel lines. Maybe at the top. Let's see. How about I descend or I ascend? There we go. That way up, getting smaller. Almost like a pyramid. And then I'm going to shade alternating ones like the first time. So these aren't really hard concepts, you know, something anybody can kind of do. And it looked like a pyramid, so I put a little triangle at the top. Okay, there's my top one, stacked parallel lines. And that kind of idea flowed from this idea when I started going down. That was an initial idea that I had in my mind. It came from the idea before. So a lot of times in creativity, one idea will lead to another. It will link you. But until you have that first one, you won't get to the second. So that's the exciting part. I really love that. It creates itself as you're creating it. All right, next one. A ribbon. Okay. So when I was thinking of ribbon, I was thinking of like the lines with swirls, but that you can also make look like 3D where it's like turning in on itself. So my ribbon's going to go behind my artwork. So I'm going to figure out how to do this. I'm going to start with my one line, and then the next line will be parallel to it. So I'm going to just start going behind my artwork in a way that fits like a whole ribbon that's holding it together. Okay, so there's my line. If you see what I made, I just started here and I just went behind and my ribbon just came up and around. There it goes that way. Okay, so now I'm going to make it, you know, a little segment. Right. And what you can do is I'm gonna have it twist somewhere. Let me figure out where it's gonna twist. Maybe more open where I can see. So that means it's gonna descend and then it's gonna reascend and look like a little twist right at the top there. And I'm fixing it because I want to show you how I twist it. There's my twist in my ribbon. Okay, so it just it just ascends on itself and then it's gonna, or descends and then ascends and gets bigger again. So you can do a few twists like that if you want. And then it comes out the other side. Okay. And then one more time around a corner. Sometimes you might have to erase and make your ribbon look a little ribbonish. And at the very end of my ribbon, I kind of make it like a diagonal. So it's not that perfect square, but it's kind of dimensional. Okay, so there's one ribbon. I don't know, I might need to make another. I might need to make a bow. Like, why not make a ribbon tied? Maybe around my sunflower. So let me experiment with a bow. I'm gonna erase the sunflower and come back that way. Let's see here. And your bow doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. I'm just tying a ribbon around my sunflower. I suppose it would have like a little center part. Okay, so there's ribbon still, but now it's around my sunflower. Okay, and you could also just experiment with random pieces of ribbon. They don't have to be super long and whatever. Maybe they're just like coming outward of your artwork. So I'm just gonna make a few like that. Maybe they're smaller on the inside and then they get bigger as they come out. So now our art is getting a little bigger. You can be able to have a little bit more freedom as we go through because you know we have less prompts. So there's some bigger ribbons just kind of coming out there. Okay. Ooh. Flowing water or waves. Okay. So think about what might come to your mind. Do you think about the ocean, a river? You know, a river would be kind of easy to make, like the ribbon we just made, behind something or flowing out of something. I think I'm going to make mine like right below my palm tree, like ocean water maybe, because that kind of goes with the idea of the palm tree. So, oh, there's my son's iPad.
Two humpbacks watched like Lloyd. The penguins looked in utter seals.
I'm just making a little bit of waves
Pandora said, I've simply got to.
under mine.
Then the others in the end decided they
And
should help their friend.
let's see. Maybe there's a river by my tree kind of coming outward.
They should believe in her. Their merry band was.
So I'm going to make it like a ribbon. It's going to come all the way around. But I'm going to add water lines to it to make it look like water. All right, so there's my water. Just coming out from my tree and coming down, just a river. So you might see some of it becomes like a picture because it's got some elements that go well together. So if I see those going well together, I want to create it. I'm going to do one more river, maybe by the pyramid up top. Or actually, instead of doing a river, I'm going to do like waves below the pyramid. Like it's on an island or something. So just kind of go to your imaginary world. Like, what could it be? Remember what it was like to be a child. I don't know if you created imaginary stories with your siblings or cousins. We always did. So I'm just making waves under my pyramid. And water has some of those refined edges and just some of those little specks, right? All through it when we doodle water. So there's my pyramid with the waves underneath it. All right, only a few more prompts left. We've already been doing it for 30 minutes. Okay, teardrops. Ooh, all right. I'm gonna think of maybe making different sizes. Oh, I see someone said a stack of books or maybe a cake. Awesome, awesome. Okay, teardrops. So I don't want my eyes crying. I just feel like my eyes need to be happy. So my teardrops are going to be just shapes that are in the sky. Ooh. Hi. There's my son. So I have like teardrops. It almost looks like the rain, just like disproportional. Big giant drops coming down on the pyramid. And if you want, you could shade like one side of your teardrop to make it look three-dimensional. Mine look a little bit like pears to me, but that's okay. Liam, if you want, I have a few more you can draw for me. So my teardrops have a little bit of shading on them. Kind of shade the similar side if you want. But you also could like make a teardrop and put, striped lines in it or something. This prompt is open enough where we could do something else with it. So I'm going to stripe one of mine. And I'm even going to put polka dots in another teardrop. So that one's got lines, and I'm going to make a polka dot teardrop. Because why not? See, as the more you create, something else happens. You take more chances. You bend the rules. I'm like, hey, that doesn't say I can't do this. So, beforehand when I was creating this, I was thinking more of following the rules of the prompt, right? But now I'm taking liberty and license, and this is what happens a lot. This is the creative process. So now I want to make some big giant teardrop. I don't know where. Let me figure it out. It's going to be behind things. There we go. Big giant guy. Because I can. Okay. So now I'm going to figure out. There's my big giant teardrop at the bottom. I think I'm going to shade like the edge of him, almost like he's a ribbon, but a circle. Ooh, I'll just put some extra shading on him, and he'll just be like a big giant guy. So I'm not being super careful with my pencil. I'm just kind of letting it flow and shade whatever feels good in the moment for this big giant guy. So there's my big giant teardrop. Okay, so you can see right now, I don't know what yours looks like, but it's this unique collection of all these different concepts and ideas. It doesn't have to make sense at all. It's just fun. Okay, a few more here. Shapes and shapes. Okay, so I'm going to choose, look for some of your open area or maybe behind something. So I've got some of this space behind here. So I'm going to put a square behind it. And then I'm going to put triangles inside that square because that would satisfy shapes and shapes. And I suppose I'm going to color my triangles in. Now it looks like a billboard behind wooden stacks. There. All right. There's a shape and shapes. So maybe you can choose a different shape now. So I could choose a circle. And my circle's not going to be completely able to close. Let's see. Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, because I have an edge here I can find. Okay, it's like way behind everything here. All right, so see that big giant circle behind my sunflower? Okay. And I'm going to put stars in there, shape and shape. I'm going to do the little star thing that we did as kids, like up, down, over, you know, the 5, nothing fancy. I don't know if you've ever tried to draw stars without doing that. It's almost like impossible. It's so much easier to draw it and then erase it. So my shapes and shapes are going to be little different sizes. You could also make something very small and simple. I'm going to do a few examples of that. So there's my big circle with stars. But now I'm just going to make a square with a circle in it. Something very simple. Square. And it makes me feel like I should shade in the square part. Okay. Looks like a little TV set, huh? The old-fashioned 80s TV set right there. Shape and a shape. All right. I don't know if we'll get to all of these, so I'm going to choose one more. And yeah, we have a few extras still, so that's good. Over planning is always good. All right, last one. Spirals. Spirals. Okay. So spirals are cool. You can make them like a tornado. You can make them like the top of a tornado if you're looking down, like a 2D, right? 2D or 3D. So I think I'll do some of each. I'm going to do, let's see, kind of like a snail looking thing. So there's my first spiral. Just, you know, and it's not perfect. It's not going to be, that one is going this way. So you can explore your spirals. What feels more comfortable? Does it feel more comfortable to go left or right? Sometimes I think right-handed people like to go right and left-handed people like to go left. So I'm just going to stick some of these 2D spirals in places that look like they need something kind of in them. And remember, you can make them small, just a few, or you can make them many times, concentric kind of circling. motion. I'm going to put one right by my eyes. Let's see. And down here. And now I'm going to experiment with a tornado looking one behind my ribbon here. So let's see if I can, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and go across my ribbon and then just erase what I don't want. If I don't want it, maybe I want to keep it that way because it's going to be kind of hard to, ooh. And that came out like a slinky. All right. So there's a, yeah, I kind of messed it up a little bit, but you know, there's an idea. Make it look like a tornado. That was practice. I'll practice again. I'm going to make one sideways. So basically, if it's turned to tornado, it's going to, it's hard to do. You have to actually start this way. Okay, I learned that. Don't start with it going towards you. Maybe. No, it didn't work either. All right, I'm going to try it and see how I can make it work. Connecting them or something. Blah. Okay, so I'm not really satisfied with that, but oh well. So what? I couldn't figure out how to make it like a tornado without collapsing this extra line. Maybe one of you guys can figure it out. How do you draw the tornado? Oh, maybe it's that way without it looking like it's on itself. All right, I'm going to do two more. I don't really like that, so I'm going to just stick with the two-dimensional ones. You might not like something, and that's okay too. So your intuition is like, don't do those. All right, I seem to like the ones that I can do easily with that don't cause me any frustration. I'm going to put one in my teardrop. The controllable ones. Maybe that's what it is. The tornadoes aren't controllable for me. I like my artwork to be more controllable. Okay. All right. So I'm satisfied with this. This is pretty much done. We're going to just do a few more minutes of talking about discussing the process. I'm going to sign my name to it. And so I encourage you to sign your name, kind of finish up anything else you want to create on this. This is the pencil version. So tomorrow, if you have either a pen, fine line pen, or a Sharpie, bring those with you, and we'll add some accents. We'll add some black, just tracing. Now that you've done most of the work, the black will be pretty easy. And then the next day, we're going to add color to the artwork. So it'd be really cool. We'll just kind of keep expanding upon the image that we created today. So I hope you had fun. I hope you felt like, you know, hey, I can do this. Like, even if you're not really, practicing art every day or find yourself using that tool, but you realize that with a little bit of prompts or ideas, like your creativity can really flow and that you're able to create something and be proud of it. So that's the real intention, like to really feel good about yourself in the process. And not judge yourself that you're not like all the artists in the world. Like, neither am I. Like, that's the cool part. Like, it's all about getting better at your practice, whatever you do, but also enjoying, right? Enjoying it. So if you're not enjoying an activity that's supposed to be relaxing and, finding that peace within you, then why do it? So don't bring an energy of judgment to art ever, because it just zaps the joy out of it, right? Art is that one element that is completely free and completely, there's no rights or wrongs, it's just whatever you create. And same like your personality, there's no right or wrong in you. You are who you are, and you're learning and you're growing, and you get to express that in this world. And there's others that love and support you along the way. So thank you for being part of this workshop. I'm excited for tomorrow, and I hope you enjoyed it. All right, talk to you guys soon.